Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you a tutorial on how to make this beautiful dress, the pattern drafting and the cutting, and how to transfer your shoulder dart to your underarm. If this is what you're interested in learning, keep watching and let's get into the video. To start, I'm going to be tracing out my basic bodice block. I have a tutorial on the channel on how to draft this basic bodice block. If you don't know how to do that yet, you can do well to check out the tutorial on my channel. So I'll be tracing out the neckline, the shoulder dart, the armhole, the waistline, the waist dart, and the hip line. So that's what I'm going to be tracing out, and I'll use my marker to highlight the lines to make it more visible. So I'll be marking my shoulder to underbust. My shoulder to underbust is 14.5. So I'll mark that and I'll roll a straight line to connect. So I'm going to label my pattern, my underbust, my waist, and my hip. Okay, so from the midpoint on that dart leg, I'm going to come out 1 inch. Other side, I'll come out 1 inch, and I'll use a straight line to connect to the underbust, and with a curve to connect to the dart point, just like so. From the hip line, I'll be coming down 4 inches, including seam allowance. I'll connect that with a straight line. I'll measure what I have on my hip line, which is about 11 inches. I will mark the same 11 inches on this line and connect with a straight line to meet the hip point. Now I'll be transferring my shoulder dart to my underarm. Okay, so from the underarm, I'll be coming down 6 cm. I'll connect with a straight line to meet the nipple point. I'll slash that open and close up the shoulder dart just like so, and I'll use a masking tape to tape that down. On the underarm where I slash, I'll be adding extra paper there and tape that down as well. From the bust point, I'll be coming out 5 cm, mark the midpoint. I'll connect that back to the dart leg just like so. On the shoulder, I'm going to be coming out by half of an inch. For my neck width, I'll be marking 1 inch down. I'll connect with a curve. I'll be adding my seam allowance around the pattern. On the neck, shoulder, and underarm, I'll be adding half of an inch. And on the side, I'll be adding 1 inch seam allowance. And that is all for the front pattern. Moving to the back, I'll be tracing out my basic bodice block for the back. Eliminate the dart at the back shoulder. I'm going to be marking my shoulder measurement, which is 5 inches, and I'll connect that back to the armhole. I will use my marker now to highlight the lines on the pattern which I have traced out. For the neck depth at the back, I'll be coming down 1.5 inches. And on the shoulder, I'll be marking half of an inch. I'll connect that with a curve. From the hip line, I'll be coming down 4 inches at the center back. At the side back, I will also come down 4 inches. I'll connect with a straight line, and I'll measure what I have on my hip, which is about 11 inches. I'll also mark that on that line, and I'll connect it back to the hip. I'll be adding my seam allowance, 1 inch at the center back and the side back, half inch at the neckline, the shoulder, and the arm. Moving to the sleeve, I'll be tracing out my basic sleeve block. If you have not seen the tutorial of this sleeve block, you can do well to check it out on my channel. I'll be tracing from the elbow length. Okay, so I'm just going to be tracing it out just like so. You can decide where you want your sleeve to stop. From from the top arm, I'll be coming down 9 inches, including my seam allowance. So I'm just going to connect the line, and I'll be adding seam allowance by the side and at the top. Okay, so this is what my front and my back pattern is looking like after adding seam allowance. So I've gone ahead to cut out the pattern on my fabric, and I've transferred the darts on my fabric. As you can see, I will open up the fabric and indicate my waist and my hip line, which I marked when I was cutting out the fabric. So here is my waist. I notched it when I was cutting it. Okay, so this is my hemline. I'll be coming up 6 inches, just like so, and I'll curve the other side, which is going to be giving me the asymmetric shape. I will use my curve ruler to light the line very well. And I'll cut out the shape. Moving to the back of the dress, this is the back pattern which I've already cut out the fabric. Okay. So now at the center back, the zipper allowance, I'm going to be marking the 1-inch zipper allowance that I put at the back. So I'm going to pin that down, open it up just like so. I'll place the front dress facing the front of the back dress just like so, making sure the notch at the waistline meets together. So I'm just going to trace out the slanted line, the asymmetric from the front dress to the back dress just like so. After which I will cross check and make sure that I have 6 inches from the hem of the dress to where the slam starts. I'm going to trace that out very well and cut it out. If you have watched up to this point and you find this video helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're yet to subscribe. Leave a comment for me, share to your loved ones. I'll be going to my sewing machine and I will stitch up the darts at the back and also the dart at the front, the underarm dart and the waist dart as well. This is the sleeve pattern which I've cut out on the fabric. So I've stitched down the dart at the waist and also at the underarm. This is the back. I've also stitched for the back as well, and I've overlocked the dress. So I'm going to be putting my zip at the center back of the dress. Okay, so I'm just going to place my zip. I'll go to my machine and I'll fix that. I'm done fixing my zip at the center back of my dress. Down there is open. I'll be placing the front shoulder and the back together. I'll go to the machine and stitch that down. So this dress is having a facing. I'm going to be using a facing to turn the neckline. I'm going to be bringing my front pattern paper and I'll trace it this way. So this is the facing for the front, and for the back I'm going to be joining the shoulder to shoulder and cover the same thing I have for the shoulder this way. Okay, so I'm going to curve it to the center back and I'll cut that out. I'll be using it to turn the neckline of my dress. I've gone ahead to cut out the facing on the material and iron and interfacing on I'll be placing shoulder to shoulder. I'll go to my machine and stitch that down. I'll bring my dress now. I'll place the facing at the neckline of the dress. So I'm going to place that down, and I'll use my pin to pin it down to the neck. I'll make sure the shoulder meets together. To the machine, I will sew that round. Okay, then I will top stitch on it as well. So here I'm done stitching it. As you can see, I've done stitching it, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so next now I'm going to be stitching down the side of the dress. I'll take it to my machine and I'll stitch that down. So yeah, I'm done stitching it down. Okay, I'll flip that to the front. I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what it's looking like. Okay, so I've set that aside and moved to the gathers. I'll be using this paper to illustrate on how I cut the fabric for the gathers. So the length of my fabric is 60 and the width is 2 yards. Okay, so this 60 now I'm going to be dividing it by 2, which is 30, and I will cut that out. So this is what I will be doing on my fabric. I decided to use paper to illustrate so it can be easy to understand. Now one of the 30 I'll divide it by 2, and I will cut that. So I will slash that open like this, okay, and I'll be joining it to the side just like this. I'm doing it this way to avoid having joining at the front of my dress, okay, because if you just join the 30-30 together like that, you will end, when you gather it, you will end up having a line, a joining at the front of your dress. So I'm trying to avoid that. So this is the material I'm working with for my gathers. Okay. I will run a loose stitch for the gathers, okay, so I will gather it and I will show you what it looks like. This is what it looked like when I was done gathering it, okay. So I'm going to be bringing my front dress. I will open the zip at the back, okay. I'll open it all the way this way, okay. So I'm going to be placing it this way, front facing front, and I'll go to my machine and I'll sew it all the way to the end of the dress, okay. So I'll sew that and I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what it's looking like when I was done stitching now. The dress is coming up together. I'll be closing the back of the dress. I'll zip it up, okay. I'll zip the back, then from where the zip stopped, I'm going to start my stitches from there and I'll stitch to the end of the dress. For the sleeve, I'm going to be folding it this way. I'll fold it into two and I will stitch that down, okay. After stitching it down, I will also fold it into two this way and I will stitch that down as well. I'm going to be marking the midpoint of this sleeve, okay. So I'm going to mark the midpoint. I will place the underarm meeting the underarm of the sleeve just like so. You can just watch what I'm doing. This is a technique on how to fix your sleeve. I'm going to be putting my hand this way and push it in just like so, okay. So after pushing that in, I'm going to use my pin to hold it in place. Then the midpoint where I notch, I'm going to be placing it on the shoulder of the dress, okay. So I'm going to be placing it like this. I will use my pin to hold that as well. Now I'm going to be pinning it around. I'm going to be pinning the dress and the sleeve together all the way around. After that, I'm going to go to my machine and stitch that down and I'll come and show you what it looks like. So I'm done stitching that up and this is what it looked like, okay. So it came out so beautiful as you can see. Alright, so please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are yet to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so whenever I drop a new video you'll be notified. Like, share and comment. Okay, so that was the end of this tutorial. As you can see, it fits me so well. Alright, so see you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.